What's up, Multiverse? Dr. Dave here. Welcome to the Geek Lounge. On today's video, we're going to go through my full haul from Manchester Comic Con. And if you haven't watched yesterday's video yet, there is a link to it where we did our Funko Pop hunt at Manchester Comic Con. It's not essential viewing for this video, to be perfectly honest. I'm going to show you off what we did find, but I didn't, of course, pick everything up, and we found tons of really cool Funko Pops. Oh, before we get into the Funko Pops, I almost forgot about this. We did get a free lanyard, which is pretty cool, in the yellow colours of Comic Con Manchester, but yeah, no passes. They were still wristbands. I will continue to campaign for Monopoly events to give us passes for their future cons. Now time to get into the haul, guys. I picked up 3 Funko Pops while I was there. If you guys watched yesterday's video, you'll know what they are, but we are now going to take closer looks at them, starting with the Chalice Collectibles PR, so pre-release exclusive Chase Shoto Todoroki. And now someone correct me in the comment section below if I'm mistaken, but was this his first outfit before we knew his name, before the character was fleshed out and he was just someone in the background? Because when this was first announced, I was like, man, I do not remember Todoroki looking like this at all. And I did a very minor bit of research, and I'm pretty sure that's what I discovered, that this was his very first like initial outfit, or maybe it was something that didn't even make its way into the anime. I'm not too sure. If someone does know, drop a comment below. He's got half the body here covered in ice with the red eye, which looks like to be the only thing that glows, and if you guys collect glow-in-the-dark Funko Pops, red doesn't normally do too well. But yeah, the outfit, like, I'm getting very like Nathan Drake-esque from like Uncharted, if you ask me, just obviously with some magic power, with some white hair, but well, quirk, pardon me, we shouldn't call it magic power, should we? But yeah, speaking of that glow, let's check it out now. All right, here we go, guys. Like I said, I think it is just the eye that glows. There's certainly no texture on anything else. Here we go. Boom. Whoa. You know what? I am pleasantly surprised. I did not expect the ice to glow. As I said, the texture that you always see on these Funko Pops, like for the glow stuff, it was only the red eye that had the texture. There was nothing on the ice, so I wasn't expecting that. The red does disappear quite quickly. I can see it a bit more with my own eyes. On camera, it just looks a bit dark. Maybe it's not really being picked up too much because of the rest of the glow of the figure. But yeah, I have to say, that's pretty cool. I definitely wasn't expecting the ice, so yeah, very happy with that. Second Funko Pop I picked up, guys, was Ryuk from Death Note. I'm now 50% there on this set. I do already have L with Cake. I just need the other L as well as Light, both of which are now pretty darn expensive. And this Funko Pop is so cool. I've never actually laid my own eyes on it outside of the box. Ryuk here with the apple, just the outfit, the smile, the eyes, the hair, just looks like such a cool pop. Very happy to get this, as I do want to complete the Death Note collection. Man, like, I absolutely fell in love with this anime, like lots of people have, but I don't know if I want to say too much. I'm not going to spoil anything for anyone who's not seen it, but I will say, in my opinion, the first 25 episodes, if the anime ended there, it like could have easily been the greatest anime ever made. I just was not such a big fan. Like, I still thought it was like decent, it was still good, but I was not a big fan of the final, I think it was like 10 or so episodes, however many it was. For everyone who's seen it, that you probably know what I'm talking about. But yeah, it's just, that's where it now kind of drops for me on the list a little bit, but it's still an absolutely spectacular anime. Like I said, those first 25 episodes were so good. Rumors that we will be getting more Death Note Funko Pops in the future. I know there's talk of Misa as well as Rem. Those two would be really cool. Probably some other iterations of L and Light as well, but I'd be happy to get more. But yeah, like I said, I need Light and the other L figures. They're just very expensive. This one, I actually paid £45 for this, which I thought was a great deal. The box wasn't in absolutely minty mint condition. There were some marks on the side, but nothing too bad that I couldn't wipe away. So yeah, very happy with this one. And the third and final Funko Pop I picked up, guys, was the OG Trafalgar Law 4x1 set. 101 in the animation line. I have actually now completed that initial wave. I mentioned it in yesterday's video. I wanted to grab this one because the Critical Role crew are heading to MCM Comic Con London at the end of October, and Matthew Mercer actually voices Trafalgar Law in the English dub. Travis Willingham, who voiced Ace, is also a part of that Critical Role crew, and I just thought it would be so cool to actually get this OG one signed instead of the newer release. There is some slight damage on this. I don't know if you guys can make it out, like the there's like a slight dent here in the side. There's maybe a little bit of like creasing and whatnot at the back, but nothing too bad. I paid $260 for this, which I thought was a pretty good deal. I've been seeing like worse condition ones going on eBay for around similar price, even upwards, so I was still just very, very happy to get this. And I have to say, for a Funko Pop that released in 2016, there is some great detail on this one. It's not that usual pose that we saw from Pops around that time with the arms by the side. He has the hand out with the room ability, carrying the sword in the other hand. Of course, the coat is closed. The newer release had the coat open, but otherwise, of course, it's Traffy, right? With his hat, his hair, his earrings, the Surgeon of Death, the tattoo there on the hand. You know what? I've been contemplating about getting that tattoo. I find it so, so cool, but I've always been a bit wary with tattoos on the hands and on the neck. I do have tattoos, if you guys were wondering, but yeah, I just don't know, the hands and neck are a little bit, I don't know. If you were like never had to go back to work in an office again, maybe, but I do think it's a really cool tattoo. But yeah, like I said, I just really wanted to get this one. I just think it would be so cool for Matthew Mercer to sign the OG one as opposed to that newer one. Even though the newer one is still really, really cool, don't get me wrong, I do like it. I actually only have the chase of that. I still need to grab the common because they are different. The chase has the heart. The common is just, I guess, with the room ability starting up. And I guess this one's like just about to start the room ability, right? But yeah, it's still a really cool pop. Very happy to get it and add it to my One Piece collection. We are one step closer to completing it. And just before we get into the side items, guys, I wanted to show you some hard stacks that I picked up from a company called Grail Guard. There is their social media, website information, etc, etc. And these things are really, really cool. So I picked up two of the regular ones, and I mean, just look at the sort of magnet power here, guys. Very, very strong. These things are really tough, really sturdy. I mean, I've actually got the still got the Trafalgar Law pop out the box here, but let's just pop that on, or in, I should say, not on, and then that goes on top there. And as you can see, just very, very cool, very, very solid. As I said, again, the magnet just clips in very good. You have to give it a real good push to kind of get it off the top there. There isn't like the indent like the Pop Figures ones, but they do still stack. Like, here's the other one. Obviously, as you guys can see, there would be movement, so it's not like completely like stuck in, I guess, like those indented ones. But the thing that I do find with the Pop Figures ones is sometimes when you then lift them off, the lid of the one on the bottom is actually now stuck to the bottom of the one that was on the top, if that kind of makes sense to you guys. And I did also pick up two packs because these are very hard to find in the UK. Again, very, very sturdy. Like, you could do some serious damage to someone with these. The like magnets, again, like that was tough to get off. Very, very powerful. Don't want to get your fingers trapped in there. I've actually needed some of these for a while because I do have a couple of two packs that I didn't, like signed ones that I didn't even have in soft protectors. And as you guys can see, they just slot in very, very nicely there. And yeah, you can just display that. Your signature, your autographed items are all safe. Your grails are safe. Just check them out. There is their website, information in the description below as well. Very, very good prices on these guys. And so now time to get onto the signed items, guys. I originally was going to get 9 things signed at the con. It ended up only being 6 because unfortunately 4 guests did cancel at quite short notice. I assume it was something to do with the writer's strike. It could have been personal things. It just seemed a bit too coincidental to me that a few actors did cancel with such short notice. Those were Anthony Starr, who of course plays Homelander in The Boys, Chase Crawford, who plays the Deep in The Boys, Lauren Cohen, who plays Maggie in The Walking Dead, and Christian Cerratos, who plays Rosita, also in The Walking Dead. They did, though, add a couple of guests as like makeup ones, and one of those I did also manage to get signed. But the very first guest I went to, guys, was Zachary Levy. Is it? I'm pretty sure it's Levy. I always thought it was Zachary Levy, but they like announced him as Zachary Levy, at least when he did his panel. And I got my Chase Shazam Funko Pops signed. He was a really, really cool dude. Very, very talkative, much taller. Like, I knew he was tall, but he was like pretty darn tall. I mean, I am pretty darn short though, to be honest. But very cool guy, fist bumps, you know, he was happy to be there, asking questions. His panel was pretty darn entertaining. Of course, they couldn't like talk too much about things. They were like dancing around stuff a lot, saying, you know, that show that we can't name, that I did this thing that I can't say, and yada yada. Like, kind of be creative to still give answers to a lot of congoers questions. But I just said to him, look, I know Shazam 2 didn't do too well. I personally haven't seen the movie yet. I'm gonna see it quite soon. Hopefully it comes on like digital or Sky over here in the UK, you know, like where I can watch it on TV essentially, so I can check it out for myself and decide for myself. But I really did like the first movie, and I just think he's perfectly suited to the character, and I said I just hope we may get you to continue, and he said thank you very much. He doesn't obviously know if that's going to happen, especially with all the changes. Like, he didn't say that specifically, but you know, kind of reading between the lines, we don't know what's going to happen with all the DC changes. But yeah guys, I thought it was really cool. Nice big yellow signature, and he also wrote the character name too. Next up guys, I met two actors from the show Vikings. I almost have a complete signed Vikings set. If I can get it, that would be absolutely amazing. First up though, we have Rolo here, who was of course played by Clive Standen. He was one of the makeup guests. As you guys can see, he finally signed Rock and Rolo there with his signature. He did also do this on the side. I didn't ask for this. He said, do you want a quote or something? And I was like, to be honest, I didn't even know you guys could do it. I wasn't sure what was going to be happening. So he got "Don't Die Stupidly, Skull," which I think is very cool. Yeah, very happy to get this one into the collection. If you guys wanted to see on the back, I don't actually have the Sear Funko Pop, but I do have all of the others. And I don't know if you guys are going to be able to quite see it there, right there. I think you can just about see it. Maybe the light's blocking it a bit. We do have Lagatha signed. I met Catherine Winnick in at Liverpool Comic-Con last year in October, and the other one we got signed guys was Floki. Yes, Gustav Skarsgård was there. Very cool dude, very popular as well. His line was always pretty busy. He's got like this kind of mad signature going right there, and I don't know, some kind of Norse markings I guess he's put at the bottom. I honestly didn't even ask him what that was, but yeah, two super really cool dudes to speak to. Clive Standen said he wished the funny thing was he talked to me like willy-nilly about, if that's like the right term to use. Like, he said everything to me about Vikings, but when he got on stage for his panel, it was like, yeah, you know that Norse show we did. He was being a bit more careful, so I guess it was in confidence. Am I now breaking that confidence? Maybe. But he said he would love to have a spin-off with Rolo, because you could then get Travis Fimmel back and have him appearing as Ragnar. Speaking of which, Gustav Skarsgård said, like, I asked him, does Travis Fimmel actually do Comic-Cons? And he said he does. He just doesn't think he'd done one in the UK before, because this was also Gustav's first UK Comic-Con. So yeah, hopefully Travis Fimmel will come at some point, and I can get my Ragnar Lothbrok Funko Pop signed as well. And although we did have two pretty big stars of The Walking Dead cancel, there were still loads of them there. Unfortunately, most of them don't actually have Funko Pops, and they are the only things that I do get signed, but there was still a couple of them there, including Austin Amello, I think that's how you pronounce his surname. He of course played Dwight in the series, so I did get my Dwight Funko Pop signed. He did just add D there in the like speech marks, speech bubbles, is that what they're called? But the other one I got signed guys, and this man had to be one of the coolest guests I've ever met at a Comic-Con. We got the king himself, Ezekiel, played of course by Khary Payton, and as I said, he was one of the coolest dudes. He actually wrote on the side here, "Welcome to the Kingdom." But I got to the front of his queue, and then he was like, "I'm so sorry, but I have to go to the toilet." And that's actually the second time, yes, the second time that has actually happened to me. At Liverpool Comic Con last year, I got to the front of the line to meet Charlie Hunnam, and he was like, "Look, I really need to go for a pee." I was like, "No worry, we all got to go, right?" And then when he eventually came back, he was like, "Just give me a second, I want to check I've not missed anything." I don't know whether he's checking his tweets or emails, messages, whatever. And then he had to put some music on with his speaker. I really couldn't think of the word, Bluetooth speaker. So he put his music on, then he came around the table. I mean, he was always around the table. He was like never behind the table, just standing up, signing things, you know, high-fiving, hugging. As he came around, you know, he gave the old like, "Oh, how's it going, man?" with a hug on the like one shoulder. He gave my brother a big hug, and yeah, it was just such a cool dude, full of energy, happy to be there. Super cheap. He was like 35 pounds as well. His line was huge, one of the biggest lines. Seth Green probably had the biggest line for like most of the weekend, to be honest. But Khary Payton, to me, maybe the last one I'll show you guys may have been slightly longer, or may have been longer just because of time. I'll get to that in a second though, but Corey Payton's line was certainly pretty big. I said to him that I'm really glad that they didn't follow the comic books with his character, and he said of course he was very happy with it, which of course he would be, gets to keep his job, right? Because if you guys didn't know, Ezekiel actually does get killed off in the comic books. Alpha, like he's the last head you see on the pike in the comic books. Of course, they didn't go with that. They went with, was it Henry, his like adopted son, I think. That was like the big shocker. But it is Ezekiel in the comic books. It's one of the, like, there's not many comic book panels which shock me. Well, I'm always shocked and in awe of like the amazing art, but actually where I'm like, holy crap. That is one of them. I was like not expecting Ezekiel to be killed off, but thankfully they didn't do that and he survived all the way through to the end of the show. I guess that's a little bit of a spoiler for you guys, but yeah, he was just such a cool dude. I was really happy to meet him and get my Ezekiel Funko Pop, where have I put it, right here, signed into the signed collection, I should say. And the last guest I met, the last Funko Pop I got signed, guys, was by Jessie T Usher, who plays A-Train on The Boys. Fortunately, he did not cancel like his fellow castmates. I'll let you guys read that there on the side if you can. Well, it says, from the fastest man alive. I just don't want to get like strikes or anything, get in trouble with YouTube, because I do have a potty mouth, by the way, but I just like to avoid it on YouTube. He was a super cool dude as well. His line was very busy, but it like he spent maybe like 3 or 4 minutes with each guest, so I think it moved very slowly. He of course had panels, photo ops, all of that stuff to get through, right? But it's what you want. You don't want to have that conveyor belt thing like we experienced at Star Wars Celebration when we met Ewan McGregor for like 5 seconds. He just signed the thing and you move on. You want a little bit of interaction with these guests, especially when you're paying these sorts of prices. And he was just cool. When we got to the front of his queue, he was like, hey, you guys made it, as if like he knew us, just made you feel welcoming, you know, big handshakes. Again, I said to him, as a big fan of the Boys comic books, which I am. Garth Ennis, the writer of that book, is one of my favorite, arguably my most favorite comic book writer. Love his stuff. And I just said that the like for me, the Boys TV show, there's still a lot of difference to the comic book, but the adaptation is still amazing. Like it's almost like 2 slightly different pieces of like entertainment, but still both so good in their own regards. There's not many that do that adapt the book well. There's only a few things which are maybe better than the book. Godfather is one of them, by the way. The Godfather movies are so infinitely better than the books, at least in my opinion. But I said to him that A-Train in the show and his portrayal is so much more better. There's so much more depth to it. And yeah, he agreed, and obviously went into a whole bunch of things which I don't know if I can really recall and share with you guys anyway. But one funny thing I do remember from his panel, he was of course trying to be careful with what he was going to say, and in the end he went, screw it. He said the other word, the F word. I'm just going to say, because I think someone asked him what director would you like to work with most, and he mentioned Quentin Tarantino, but then he said he's worked with some great directors, and specifically on the show, like on The Boys, and then he was just like, you know, F it. I'm just going to say it. I worked with this guy who did the Herogasm episode. We did this, we did that. He just started talking, and we like, I was just kind of making a joke with my brother saying like, oh, they're going to cut, like there's someone like at the union going like, cut. Because I think Monopoly events do actually record all of the panels, but maybe they didn't with Manchester Comic Con, just to be safe. I'm not too sure. I mean, I don't really know what happens if you go against what the union says. You just get kicked out. I'm not entirely sure. And well, there we go, guys. That is my haul for Manchester Comic Con, and that is therefore going to do it for today's video. So first and foremost, thank you so much for taking a little bit of time out of your day to spend with me here on the Geek Lounge. It is very much appreciated, and I hope you guys did enjoy the video. If so, be sure to give it a thumbs up, drop some comments below, let me know if you attended Manchester Comic Con, what did you pick up, what did you get signed, and as always, we've got plenty more content on the way for you guys. I can't believe it's now going to be 2 and a bit more months until my next Comic Con. The last few months I've done tons of cons. I now have 2 and a bit months till the next one, which is going to be Liverpool Comic Con towards the end of October, and then what's worst of all, 1 week later is MCM Comic Con London. So October is going to be very busy and very expensive for me, but it will be good to have a break before we get there. And speaking of breaks, guys, I will actually be heading out to Canada for a holiday. I'm really looking forward to it, to have the break. It's just going to be amazing. I've been to the country before. I'm going to get to see more of it, both city, national parks, like, it's such a beautiful country. I cannot wait to go. I've pre-recorded a whole bunch of footage so I can continue dropping content for you guys. I hope to also, hope to also do some content for you guys while I'm in Canada. So yeah, make sure you stay tuned for all of that and more. What is the easiest way to stay tuned, you ask? It's very simple. Subscribe, hit click, smash that subscribe button and enable those notifications so you don't miss out on any of that future content. Guys, thanks again for watching today's video and we'll see you on the next one. Peace out, nerds!